Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to the channel. We are still working our way through some Valentine's Day projects. I'll go ahead and put up the 2024 playlist up here in the corner. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm using products from Simon Says Stamp today. I have the Love You tag, and then I also have this adorable puppy love stencil. I love it because it has little paw prints in it. So I thought it'd be really cute for us to use today. So to get started, I just wanted to go ahead and grab my grip mat here so it could hold my paper in place as well as my stencil. So if you guys are new here or if you're returning to see me, thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and share because that really does help my videos. We're also going to be using some distress oxides today, and I used a color palette out of my color cube. I'm just going to use the colors that are off to the left of this. I'm kind of inspired by these colors. They're not really matchy to it, but I like that softer kind of look. I felt for this card, I wanted to be a tad bit softer instead of like a bold color palette. So I'll go ahead and grab out my stencil. And again, using this grip mat is going to be fantastic because it's going to keep the paper and the stencil in place for me. So I don't know how you guys feel about Valentine's Day. I have been married for 30 years. So my husband's been my forever Valentine, to be honest. I met him when I was in grade school. I saw him on the playground when I was in third grade and he was in sixth grade. And I told my twin sister then I was going to claim him as my husband. And look there, it worked. I kind of knew what I wanted at a very young age, I guess. All right, so I am cleaning off my brush here because it really did have a lot vibrant pink on it. So I wanted to make sure that I had more of this mauve cover coming across my card. Now I'm just kind of laying these colors down and I'm blending to kind of get a little bit of my own like color blend that's not just random. You'll see what I'm talking about as I blend here. So I'm going to bring in that gray color. And again, all the supplies will be listed below. And I'm going to put that right next to my pink because these colors blend pretty well together. Next, I'll go ahead and remove that gray. I'll go into that brown, and I'm going to put the brown next to the gray because I know those two colors will blend very well together. So it's not to say that the brown is not going to work with the pink, especially when you're using oxide inks. They really do blend seamlessly and you won't get like that muddy color. But I wanted to first lay down where I wanted my colors. And then I'm going to bring back a little bit of that mauve color and blend that into the brown and blend that into the gray. And we end up having such a pretty like color shift on this card with these three colors. So what I love about stenciling is literally the reveal of it all. I'm just going to make sure I have all the color down before I go ahead and lift up my stencil. But this is so pretty. All right, so we'll peel the back and look how gorgeous that is. It's like our colors just shifted just a little bit, but that background is delightful. All right, so I went ahead and I cut out my tag. I wanted to add just a little bit of color to this. I just didn't want it to be stark white. So I'm just going to use what's left over on my blending brush. I'm going to kind of concentrate some heavy color at the bottom of the tag. And then I'll just pull up a soft gradient up towards the top. But I left the top of it pretty much white. But I felt the need to put just a little bit of color to this. Now I need to go ahead and see how this looks. And look how pretty that is just by adding just that little bit of that mauve pink towards the bottom. Now it's time to add our sentiment. So within this die, you have a love you and a thanks. I'm going to use the love you since this is a Valentine's Day card. I want to keep my colors consistent here. So I just did not want to have a white sentiment on this white tag. I felt like it was going to get a little bit lost. So I went ahead and I added some brown to an area. And then I'm going to add a little bit of that gray to an area. And then I could decide what color I want to use. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to have the brown, the gray, a gradient of the two. So I went ahead and I did both colors here, and then I can go ahead and die cut this. Now, anytime you're working with stencils, they're super, super easy to work with, number one. And number two, they're a very inexpensive product that you can have in your craft space in order to make cards. And you get a lot of bang for your buck with these stencils. So now I'm going to go ahead and look to see what colors I like. So first I have the brown, then I'm going to grab the gray, and this is where it struck me. I could use both of these colors. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the heart in the gray, and let's see how that looks next to the brown. And that's really going to pull in all of the colors. And I like this right here. I'm going to use both of these dies and alternate how I lay down each one of these letters. So I do have a small little cut down grit mat here, and that's going to help me align up my letters because the die cuts out each letter separately and not like as a grouping of one. I'm going to use that grip mat to help me line everything up. So when I place it on my card, I know it's going to be straight. This is a great way to use those grip mat that you might have for like your Cricut or your silhouette. I no longer have a silhouette, so I do like to keep the mats though and use those for opportunities just like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and alternate the colors between the browns and the grays. And once I get everything lined up, I can go ahead and pick this up as one solid kind of image in order to place this down on my card. So look how pretty this is. I really like the altering of the two colors instead of just having one color. Now I am going to grab some wider mint tape, and this is going to help me get most of everything picked up. I'm not going to be able to get that heart, but that's okay because it's a tiny little piece that I can add a little bit later. And then I'm just going to fold back that sticky mat, and then I can have all of my letters signed up or lined up where I need them. All right, now I'm going to just go and place down my tag, and then I'll grab a little bit of glue to adhere these down. Now, usually I would stack my sentiments, like each letter will have like multiple layers. But for this one here, because we're just placing it onto the tag, I felt I didn't have to stack this. So I'm just using very tiny dots of glue here just to make sure that I have just enough of that glue to kind of stick it down, but not too much that it kind of starts oozing out everywhere. So I think that this is going to be an adorable tag if you wanted to add it to a Valentine's Day gift. But I wanted to just put it on a card today. Excuse my head. I had to like stand up and like really get over this just to make sure I had it lined up where I want it. And then I'm just going to rub that down just to make sure I have it in contact with that tag before I pull that mint tape back. And look how pretty that is. I love alternating those colors. I think it looks so cute. Now I can grab that little heart and I can put that on the bottom. Now, using tags is a great way to add a different element to your card. Usually, you think of tags and you think like, oh, I need to put them on a package. But not necessarily. They work perfectly on a card. And guess what? If you don't want to put the ribbon at the top, you don't have to because it's just going to be an element on your card. So making a tag card is a great way to use some of those tag dies that you already have and just apply them to a card base. It's really that simple. Now, how cute is this tag? I love it. Now, I did die cut the tag a few more times and I had sponged it with the mauve oxide ink. And I'm going to add just a few of these around the tag, just to add a few more hearts. Once I have those all down, it just does give a little bit more of a nice element to the tag, kind of brings your eye into focus on it. So once I have those done in place, we can go ahead and start putting together the card. Now, this is gorgeous on its own. Again, if you wanted to put it in on a package, or like me, use it to make that card. I think tags work perfectly on cards. And then when all the colors match seamlessly, look how gorgeous this looks. I mean, it could not get any easier. So for my card today, I decided not to trim this down. So I'm just measuring to make sure that this is going to fit perfectly on my card base. So this just is a white card base. It's the standard A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this panel is going to cover that up nicely. So I added a little bit of liquid adhesive, and then with using that adhesive, it's going to give me just enough wiggle room to get this lined up perfectly. I like to like stand up my cards and kind of make sure everything's lined up, and then I know I'm good to go. Now I can go ahead and add my tag on this. Now I did cut a few extra tags in white so I can layer this up so it's a thicker element on my card. So remember I said I wasn't going to stack the sentiment. I do want to stack the tag though. I do want this to have a little bit lift off my card. Now, if you did not want to do this, you can totally use foam tape on this. But because I already had the die out, I just figured I would just die cut a couple more tags to make this a little bit thicker. And the paper that I used to stack this is a little bit thicker. So I used 110-pound cardstock. So this is really going to give this some weight. So I'll go ahead and lay that down on the center of my card. And at this point, I really like how the card looks, but I wanted to add a little bit of something that did not compete with this. So I went through my stash and I grabbed out some, they're like milky white sequences. I'll try to see if I can find these same ones and link them below. But by using this, I have the white color per se, but it's not like taking anything away from the hearts or that beautiful color palette that we have. And I'm just adding a few of these onto the card base just to give the card base a little bit of texture. You don't necessarily need to do this, but I really like how this turned out. That is going to wrap up today's card. If I inspired you today, here are a couple more videos for you to check out, and I will see you in another video soon. All right, everybody, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.